Welcome to United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America on WSGW. Now, here is your host, Kareem Bowen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. So glad to be with you all. We have made it through the summer holidays. I don't know if the summer's over now. We've had Memorial Day and the 4th of July. It all goes downhill from here. But I'm in the studio today with my main man, John B. in the place to be. John, what's good?
Hello. We still have Labor Day. All right.
Which
that's
is
the
what?
End of summer.
What does Labor Day represent?
That's the end of summer.
Labor Day represents the end of the warm weather.
So we're not done yet.
So for those who are listening here, both in Michigan and Illinois, we understand what this is all about. Come on, you can't pee on our shoulders and tell us it's raining. We understand that once the 4th of July is over, summer as we know it is just the dog days that are left. There's nothing left for this. But we're going to bring in Mark Bassett, who is not in the studio, but he is in our social media stream. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be back in town, although it's been raining. So
look at you trying to get a few shades closer to this wonderful, illustrious tan that I'm rocking over here.
That's the beauty of being in Southern California, man. The sun is brighter, even if it's overcast. There's more intensity to it. So.
Mark, you had a great opportunity to do something that you don't always get, but it's something that you committed to when you decided that you were going to be a retired old white guy. You decided that you're going to spend more time with the family. So tell us how that was. You had a number of them with you. How did the holiday go?
Yeah, it went well. It went well. This is actually something I started in 2016. As most listeners probably remember, I have 7 kids. So once a year, I try to get all 7 kids together. For
Mark, you didn't have one more kid in you. The saying is 8 is enough.
8 is enough.
One more, you couldn't push out one more.
7's more than enough. But anyway, it was a great vacation. We had 6 of the 7 there. One couldn't make it with his wife this year. On top of that, because we rented a house in San Diego, all of Mary's relatives are in that general area. So we were able to have a one-day party where we had all my kids together and their families, as well as all of Mary's siblings and their families, which actually has never happened before. So it was really nice to see that.
So what is, were you actually there for the 4th, Mark, in San Diego?
No, I flew. No, we were in San Diego June 25th through July 2nd. Then I was in Santa Monica a couple of days. We actually flew back on the 4th of July.
You did the traveling on the 4th.
Yeah.
How interesting was that? If you came in the evening and see all the fireworks that are all over the place.
Well, it was interesting. What was nice is the airports were less crowded, and that's why I chose that day. Flights were cheaper. We landed in Midland at about 10:10, and as we were driving home from the MBS, we saw fireworks simultaneously in Auburn, Freeland, Midland downtown, and the Midland Country Club as we were driving down the road. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I spent the 4th on the west side of the state, and we were seeing fireworks from all over the place. We ended up on the top floor of a hotel, Shoreline Hotel, a nice little hotel that they have that's right on the lake over there, and the horizon was just littered with fireworks all over the place. It was firework overload, if you could. But we're going to get right into our conversation. We have with us today, and why don't we bring him into the social media stream, John? We have with us today Brian Callahan, who's with us today. He is rocking, I see his lanyard around his neck, but Brian is the Dow Engineering and maintenance leader for Michigan operations for the Dow Chemical Company. So good to have you here today, Brian.
Hello, Kareem. Great to be here.
Looks like he's in an office at work is what it looks like.
Look at him. They don't let you
I'm
work to have a sandwich and take a break, Mark. What's going on, Brian?
Well, I'm surprised to see him there. Most people at Dow actually aren't working in an office anymore, it seems like.
Oh, here in Michigan operations, we got lots going on. That's what we'll talk about, right?
The guys at the plant actually have to be there. The corporate center, I'm not sure. I go over there and nobody's ever there. So
but we're glad to have him today. We're going to talk a little bit. You all know that I work with a program called the Dow Treasure Academy, which Dow is a sponsor for, and they have amazing volunteers from the company that are a part of the mentoring process, spending thousands of hours mentoring young people and young minds as a part of that process. But one of the things that Dow has really pushed forward with doing, which I really appreciate and I enjoy, is really making sure that the things that they are a part of, the things that they're connected with, are very inclusive in nature, and that as they make impacts around the world, that they have also made a great effort to be the most inclusive that they possibly can. Recently receiving an award, being the number 7th most inclusive corporation, which is a big badge of honor for companies who have a desire to really make an impact and provide equity, opportunity, and inclusion as they do business. And I think it's really cool. So, Brian, I thank you for coming today as we have this conversation about something that is a little bit different and new, the Great Lakes Bay Invitational Trades Day. So welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what this is?
Kareem, great. Thanks for letting me talk about this. Right, as you talk about inclusivity and really what we're excited about. Really, we're talent scouts, right? We're looking for talent in the area, and we'll do that anywhere we can, right? And so we have an opportunity here in Midland coming up next week, and it's called the Great Lakes Bay Invitational. All of the best of the LPGA golfers are coming in town, and we and a number of others are sponsors of that activity. But what we thought is, what a great opportunity, what a great venue to also be great talent scouts at that event, right? And so the talent that we're really looking at is, we've got a lot of opportunity here in Michigan. We've got, just in the Great Lakes Bay region, in the 6 counties surrounding Midland from where we're at. If you look at the next 7 years of activity here, we've got over $1 billion worth of projects coming in. And that's not just Dow. That's Hemlock Semiconductor. That is SK. That is all kinds of companies that are here in our iPark, that are in our region. We've got a lot of opportunity coming. But then also, if you look at the workforce that we have, the talent that we have, we also have a lot of talent that is getting in that 55 and over area as well, right? And we're looking for new talent, right? Nothing to say bad about the 55 and olders, right? And those of us that are in that range, but we're looking for talent, Kareem. And so what we found is that it's tough sometimes to get the name out there for the talent that we need. And so we've been partnering with not just Dow, but our strong partners: Alloy, Beerline, GEI, Niles, Pumford, Three Rivers. All of those are local mid-Michigan companies that are helping in that construction industry, in that building the future. And they've all got jobs and opportunities in these skilled trades areas that we want our community to know about.
So when we look at normally we say the Great Lakes Bay Invitational, and everyone knows that it's about golf. So during this great event, which I think I've been a part of it for a number of years, you guys are bringing high school students out to the venue, the area, the location. And what would be the type of experience that you guys are hoping to expose them to? What should they expect when they're coming?
Yeah, so the day that we're inviting all of the area high schoolers to come is Friday, July 21st, and it will be from 10 to noon at the Great Lakes Bay Invitational, which is at the Midland Country Club. And so, as anybody who has been to the event before, because of the security, all of the press vans, you can't park at the Midland Country Club, so you park at the Dow Diamond baseball field. We've got buses that go over every 5 minutes from there. So if high school students and their parents and friends arrive between 9:30 and 10 o'clock at the ticketing booths, then just say, hey, I'm here for the Skilled Trades Day at the Great Lakes Bay Invitational. They'll get in free. They'll be directed to where the event is, and we'll have people there from all of the local iPark companies that are looking for talent in the coming years that can answer questions, that can talk about what are skilled trades, what are apprenticeships, right? And we're doing that as part of the event as a little bit of a draw, right? We're getting folks to come and high schoolers to learn about skilled trades and then enjoy the rest of the day seeing the best LPGA players in the world.
I would imagine that one of the biggest reasons that you're doing it this way as well is to overcome some of the barriers. One of the greatest barriers, as everyone that's on this the stream knows, is awareness. And so, how many schools are you anticipating to actually take part in this? What I believe is to be a first of a kind event.
It is a first of a kind event, and we've invited all of the high school career and technical education programs, but any high school student that's even interested in skilled trades is invited. So we've reached out to schools far and wide within an hour of Midland to try and get the word out about these opportunities. And the exciting thing about this is, usually when I talk to high schoolers, I've got two that have just graduated high school. The most feared question for any high school senior is, what are you going to do after graduation? Right? They get that asked all the time. What are you going to do after graduation? And in our society, right, there's a lot of push about going to college and going to other schools, but there's other great alternatives as well. And this apprenticeship is a federal program that really skills up and trains students. And so again, we're talking about postgraduate students graduating high school into a trade, and they could be a pipe fitter or a welder or a machinist. It's on the job training and also classroom training that you get a credential and a job and get paid for it with no debt. No debt, no college loans, no college loan forgiveness needed, right? Because of the critical need for these skilled workers.
Wow, that is really you said a mouthful just right there. So many times students are like, oh, I can't afford to do this. But the reality of it is that there are pathways to employment that don't require for you to go in to debt. I know when I graduated from college, I had a ton of debt that you had to pay off, and it took some time to do it. So you're not just targeting high schools, any particular high school, but if there is a high school student that hears this broadcast or their parent hears this broadcast and their kid has absolutely no clue. Mark, did any of your kids, when you were growing up, did they all have kind of like, okay, I know that this is what I want to do, this is the direction? Did you have any that were kind of like, I don't know what I want to do, I want to find the meaning of life?
Well, I think no, I think they all kind of knew what they wanted to major, or thought they knew what they wanted to major in going into college, and they all went to college. That being said, two of, although they got their degrees, are doing things now. Like my youngest son is studying to become a gunsmith, which is basically a trade school.
Right.
So I think even if they think they know, I mean, they're young, they don't really know, to be honest. So I think this is a great program. I think, as you mentioned before, Kareem, I'm no longer employed, but at HSC, and you mentioned HSC earlier, one of our biggest concerns was the lack of skilled trades. They're undergoing a big expansion. I think if they look at their expansion plans, just like I'm sure Dow or SK Siltron or DuPont, that is probably the single biggest concern is where are we going to get employees to allow us to expand it in Michigan.
And Mark, I know that before you left, there was a conversation. You were saying there were actually hundreds of jobs that were in the company that you guys are kind of like, we don't know where this workforce is going to
come from. Yeah, exactly.
And
we
so
had been talking about, out of curiosity, are companies, it sounds almost like a job fair. So are companies in essence recruiting, or is it specific to try to get this grant kind of a thing?
Yeah, so the great thing about the skilled trades event that we're having at the GLBI is we've identified that in mid Michigan we need to all work together to get the word out to
Yep.
build this group of skilled trades. And so it doesn't make sense for us to go out and compete against one another for the existing size of the pie. We need to get the word out and grow that pie and create opportunities for
Right.
everybody. Because again, when I'm talking about all of the different companies that have published $1 billion worth of expansions in the next number of years, if you do that over 7 years, that's 300 to 500 full-time employees a year for the next 7 years, above and beyond all of the people that we have out there working now. So we need to grow the pie, and so that's what we're doing at the event, is that we're talking about the opportunities that we have, and we all have our websites and our career websites and everything else that people can go to afterwards, but we really want to get the word out there about these sorts of jobs.
And
I think
who are the companies there, the ones you mentioned earlier, or so who, out of curiosity, who are the companies at the fair?
Yep. So this year, again, this is our inaugural year. It's Dow, Alloy, Beerline, GEI, Niles, Pumford, and Three Rivers Corporation.
All right. So Dow and kind of a bunch of construction firms, basically.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So when you look at this, what I love about this is that it's a new take on a problem that is existing. When we look at the unemployment numbers, and the unemployment numbers are staying low, there are so many people who need people to fill jobs. So it's important that we create these pipelines so that we give opportunities and people, because I'll tell you, when I grew up, I didn't have these opportunities for exposure. They asked me, hey, what do you want to do when you go to school? I was like, be an engineer, because I knew one engineer, and that's what everybody was talking about, be an engineer. And when I got to school, I realized EE330 changed my life. I'm like, this is not for me. I don't want this circuits class anymore. But then I had the opportunity to be exposed on that college campus to other opportunities. And it was where I was able to kind of say, hey, I kind of like this thing here, and found my way. So you guys are taking what I think is a very creative step of exposing these young people to the things that are out there. Because when people think Dow, when they think Beerline, when they think construction, we have these ideas that have kind of been cemented in our head of what these companies do. So now this will give them an opportunity to come in. Is this all conversation, or is this going to be some demonstrations? What exactly are some of the caveats that these young people take away with?
Yeah, so we're limiting the PowerPoint slides and conversation. Absolutely, right. The middle-aged white guy that's going to stand up there, which is me, right, to talk, will be minimized for sure.
You said it, not me. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, and because again, I want to get talent, and we get that spark, we get that hope, we get that idea in the heads by these high school students, touching equipment that we're bringing. So we're bringing show and tell, right? We're bringing the hardware that they will be looking at. We will be bringing the heart communicators that the instrument and electrical techs use on a daily basis. We're bringing current apprentices that are going through the program. We're bringing journey persons that have just graduated, and worked through their evaluation to get to that journey level of certification, so that they can see each step, and also to see that, again, there's education associated with it. Some of the programs, when you graduate, like Dow's program, not only do you work towards that journey credential, you actually get a associate's degree associated with it as well, for free, right? So that is included in the program, no debt required. And with each of the companies, as well as Mark had mentioned too, if there are interested folks that are wanting to go through apprenticeship program, the sky's the limit as well. Once they get into the companies, is that there are educational programs that if they decide that they want to take that next step and go, Kareem, and go through that EE 320 class, right, and take that, we have educational support for that. So it's an alternative that helps us in the companies to build the future of tomorrow with skilled trades, but then it also opens up a array of opportunities within the companies in mid-Michigan.
Out of curiosity, I mean, I think, for several generations now, there's been well, if you want to get a good job, you really need to go to college. And so there was a lesser than if you didn't. I think one of the most eye-opening things for people is just how much someone with a skilled trade can make. And then if they get inside a good company like Dow or DuPont or pick your Hemlock, there's a lot of optionality to kind of continue to go up a trade route. And there's chemical operators that make six figures, or try to branch out into professional ranks because they're there. Are you going to explain that to the students at all? Kind of how kind of financially stable and promising a career in the skilled trades?
Absolutely, and what we have done is we've gotten statistics, right, from the U.S. Department Bureau of Labor Statistics, which talks about for this region what skilled trades careers pay, right, and so for a 22-year-old coming into a skilled trades role, the pay is 48% higher than the average pay in the region. So you're talking about on average in the region for a skilled tradesperson, it's in the $3,000 a month sort of area. And again, this is Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? This isn't any one company's confidential information. Up to $6,000 a month straight time. And then Mark, as you know, I mean, with all of these activities that we have going on, there's lots of opportunity for overtime and others. And so six figures is certainly a possibility for those that work through the program and are working hard in really in demand trades. And so again, these are all very viable jobs with great career possibilities and great earning opportunities as well.
Yeah, and again, if you get in with the right companies, there's all the other benefits that you haven't even talked about. So.
Yep. High schoolers, when I start to talk about medical and 401k and all of those kinds of things, right? That gets into that middle-aged white guy sort of talk, right? Which isn't so interesting, but absolutely all of those benefits are as part of that as well.
Yeah, but even like companies like, again, Dow, and I know a little about their 401k program, HSC's 401k program, it's frankly free money that on top of an hourly wage. So.
Yeah, but I think, and this is what Brian was talking about, that middle-aged white guy conversation. Talking to high school students about that, they're like, "What?" I know that most kids, and we understood this because we were young at one point. I still am young. I have a little bit time left here, but we were kind of, what is the immediate gratification that I can begin to experience in life, which is unfortunate to some degree because I wish that we were able to teach more students on the importance of delayed gratification. But the fact of the matter is life is lifing. And so people are, we got to take care of families. We now have to add our support levels to what's happening with the core family, and we've got to contribute. Give us really quick before we go to this first commercial break. How can someone get a hold of you or get more information regarding this process?
Yeah, the best way is to go to Facebook, right? So look at the Dow Great Lakes Bay Region, GLBR. We've got a great video highlighting the event and more information on how to get there.
All right, we're going to be right back with more of the Great Lakes Bay Invitational Trades Day. And we're going to ask Brian a couple of more questions. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Stick, stay, don't go away. Be back with more United Shades of Gray.
You're listening to United Shades of Gray on WSGW.
This is Kareem, and we're back with more United Shades of Gray. We're here today with Brian Callahan from Dow Chemical Corporation. He is here sharing with us the details of the Great Lakes Bay Invitational Trades Day. I know that normally you're thinking about golf, but they're creating a new experience for high school students who are interested in finding out, hey, if you're not interested in going to college, the 4-year thing is not your deal, it's not your jam, and you want to figure out how can you begin to carve out your own niche, still make a good living, and in some cases, 6-figure living. They're giving you an idea and some plans and some connections. And you said something a little bit about an apprenticeship. Could you please share a little bit, Brian, what you mean by this apprenticeship program?
Yeah, so an apprenticeship is training, right? We're talking about it's not an alternative to college. It's just a different pathway to training for a career. And an apprenticeship is a federally recognized program. So those that want to know more generally about what an apprenticeship is can go to apprenticeusa.gov. So it is a U.S. Department of Labor program to really learn about how to be a tradesperson. And so we're talking about instrument, electrical, pipe fitters, millwrights, welders, all arrays of skilled trades that are absolutely critical as we're building the future in mid-Michigan.
Okay, and so students that are coming out, are you signing them up for these apprentice programs immediately, or are you just giving them information? What exactly is going down, and how can they get involved?
Yeah, so each of our companies that will be here at the Great Lakes Bay Invitational Skilled Trades Day have our own programs that we're bringing new talent, new apprentices, and new trainees into our program. For Dow, for instance, every year in the January timeframe, we're looking at graduating seniors to apply on our careers website, careers.dow.com, to really look at whether they are interested in applying in an apprenticeship program. And typically, just like this year, the applications are in January and interviews happen after that. And the first day of an apprenticeship is after graduation. So this year was actually this week in July, where for Dow, we had 13 new apprentices start this week in all kinds of different areas, skilled trades, as well as operations as well for operators. And so all of our other companies that are here, as well as the rest of the industry park and industries in the region, have something similar. In addition, with the unions and the other training centers also have apprenticeship programs that can be enrolled in, and those can all be found at the apprenticeship.gov website, as well as Michigan.gov also has an apprenticeship program that they link students and interested candidates with all of those job postings. But yes, it is graduate high school, and the next week you can be starting training in a career and getting paid for it while you learn.
Wow. And typically, I mean, that's amazing that it's such a short period of time from starting the process to actually getting involved and starting to make money. I want you really quick, Brian, because one of our social media listeners asked me to put this information in the link, and I think I may have just really flubbed this really bad. So I'm going to ask Jonathan, the producer, to help me out with this. Could you please give us where I'm writing and typing and listening? Could you give us where on social media? I know that you said Facebook was the platform, but the additional information for them to get to more information.
Yeah, it's at Dow GLB, Great Lakes Bay Region. So Dow GLBR Facebook link.
Okay, and so you can go there and get this information. There is also a video that we'll be posting on all of these platforms to allow you guys to kind of just get an idea of what's going on. This is not just your old school guys thing where you go and you sit and listen and see a PowerPoint. This is an opportunity to get hands-on experience. And I'm going to say, especially to those who are listening, from some of what we would often refer to as underserved communities, communities of color, This is a great opportunity. If your kid has absolutely no idea, come on, where they're going to go and what they're going to do, please get your high school students to this event, because this will give them an opportunity to see how they can be a benefit to the society, instead of being someone who we're going to try to figure out how we're going to help them make it through life. So I really appreciate you, Brian, for taking the time and putting for the effort. The call on last week was absolutely amazing. I was excited. I was like, we need this guy on our radio show. He's telling us how we can make this happen. We're looking for opportunities often on how we can get in and how we can access some of the opportunities. As you said, $1 billion of worth of projects is coming into the community. Instead of us having people shipped from all over the place, why not get in Michigan, the Great Lakes Bay region, get in on this so that we can begin to employ, keep some of that money in our communities so that we can make our communities great. Brian, is there anything that you would like to share with us before we lead? I certainly thank you for coming in with us today.
No, I definitely appreciate the time. And again, I started with, I'm a talent scout. We're all a talent scout. And especially for those who didn't know that these opportunities exist, right? Think about it. Go to the website, go to Facebook, look at the video. We're looking for talent, and we'll train that talent. But we need our community to step up, because just like you said, we can fly people in from Texas. We can fly people in from California, where Mark's sitting, right? But we want to employ folks here, right, in the Great Lakes Bay region.
So we certainly thank you once again. Get involved. That goes down next Friday. Is it 10 a.m., Brian?
It starts at 10 a.m. Friday, July 21st, and again, it's you can't park at the Midland Country Club. Park at the Dow Diamond, and there's shuttle buses every 5 minutes. And then when you get to ticketing, just look for the signs that say skilled trades, and there's free admission for anybody going to the event, and then they're invited to stay the rest of the day at the golf tournament. So it should be a great day, and let's pack the ballroom at the Midland Country Club with future talent for the region.
You got a lot of golfers out there that are trying to figure out how they're going to get on the course. So what they need to do is grab their high school.
I look pretty young. Maybe I can say I'm a high school student looking for a skilled trades job.
I'll put your picture out there, Mark. No Mark Bassett, but anybody else.
All right. So we thank you so very much, Brian. I look forward to seeing you next week. Let's make sure we shake hands and we connect, because I got a lot of other projects that we can make happen in the community. I'm so glad that you guys have committed to this. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. All right. For those of you who are yet listening, I want to continue. Normally, we did a little flipperooski of what we would normally do. Normally, we would start our show talking about what's hot off the press after I had a few moments of harassing both Mark and Jonathan. But I wanted to make sure that we were able to get Brian into this conversation, because the information he is sharing is so very important. There's, as he said, $1 billion. That's a billion with a B. Projects that are coming in our community that are a part of the skilled trades industry. So it's important for us to make sure that we are prepared for what's going on. We don't wait till it's here, but we got to make sure that we make moves before it takes place. And as they showed you, that this stuff can happen pretty quickly. Get in, get an education, get some of those credentials, and you can be on a site making good money. Mark, it's one of the things that you were always preaching. And yep. We're trying to get kids in, talking about engineering. We want them to be chemists and all these stuff. And all kids, they're not all cut out for that.
No, not at all. And that's was to me a little frustrating when I was at Hemlock. Is we've got a historically kind of underprivileged, underemployed community, and these are good opportunities, whether they're at Hemlock or Dow or DuPont or and it always was frustrating to me of like why more people weren't to try to take some of these opportunities. So
the awareness gap is real, and so that's why we're here making and blowing the horn, letting people know that this is happening. I want to give a shout out and a request for prayers. My mom's name is Geraldine, and her godmom's name is also Geraldine. And her godmom is in the hospital currently, Mark. I want to say this because I promise you, She should be on News 5. There should be a great celebration for her. She's in the hospital. She's not doing extremely well at the moment, so we're praying that she makes it through. On next week, I think it is like on next Thursday or Friday. Get this, she turns 108 years old.
Holy moly! Wow.
108.
Wow. So she's
She's like
107.
she's like 20
She's
of
gotta be
John.
the oldest person in the state for sure.
My great grandma turned 98 yesterday.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So
Man,
I thought that was up there.
that is longevity at its best.
Yeah.
And Mark, we should be so lucky. I promise you, I always told people that I was going to live till I was 90 years old. What a feat. But 108 years
That's
old
amazing.
on next week. That's amazing. And
It
so we're
is.
praying for her to get well and get strength to do better. We had here in Saginaw, which was really cool. Mark, I think you were in town, but I'm sure you were tied up with some other things. Saginaw Community Block Party. You know that, okay, we understand the challenges that many inner city communities, it's not just Saginaw, but it's cities all over the nation, are experiencing increases in crime. Do you guys ever watch on social media or some of the things that they're showing with how people just go into stores in New York City, Walgreens and Rite Aid, and just take whatever they want off the stores? Crime is going crazy. A part of it, well, I don't even want to get into why these things are happening, but it's happening. And not only that, but also violence, i.e., and particularly gun violence. And we had an episode here in Saginaw. We've been talking about mass shootings all over the nation and things that have been taking all over the place. And then we had an experience here in our own community here in Saginaw where we had a mass shooting. 15 people were shot. A couple of people have passed away. There are people that are still in the hospital. And so one of the things that I think is so important in communities that are experiencing violence is that individuals who are concerned about restoring faith in their communities have to begin to do things to change the narrative. And so on this past Wednesday, we had a Saginaw community citywide block party, which a group called CAP, which is Community Alliance for the People, Jeffrey Bulls, Danita Dorsey, myself, and other individuals they partnered with, Straight Talk, which is my program from another station. And we had about 1,000 people come out. There were games, prizes, mission in the city. Pastor Tatum has one of the most remarkable locations in the community with life-size chess boards. Black folks don't play chess, Mark. That's what a lot, but we're training. It's a game of strategy. I shouldn't say that. There are a lot of black folks who play chess, and they're waiting to yell at me right now. Why you say black people don't play chess? But no, it's a game of strategy, life-size games of checkers, just all kinds of things. There was a DJ and vendors galore. There were food trucks, balloons, popcorns, all of the things that kids love, young people love. They were line dancing. It was like an old school family reunion. And so I want to give a shout out to those individuals who were so intricately involved in making it happen. We've got to do more things like this where we can provide opportunities for communities to come together where there is no violence. Now, I got to ask you all a question about Hollywood celebrities coming in and jumping into the politics of our communities. We've seen this at every level, from Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back, to, you better watch how I say that, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back, and to Donald Trump, number 45.
Reagan.
What's that?
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, the man who was using lines from his old movies as president that nobody realized until later. But we now have another Hollywood celebrity, Hill Harper. And Hill Harper is best known for his time on CSI New York. But he's also from a show that is very popular right now called The Good Doctor. But he moved into Michigan, I guess, back in 2017. Whenever they decide, hey, I think that this is a place where I can use my celebrity and become famous and run for politics. He's always been an advocate.
I really think that's why he moved to Michigan.
I really do. I that is my honest opinion, and I hope, I've spoken with this camp, and they have kind of said, hey, we want to come in, we want to get on your show and just kind of share with why I'm here doing what I'm doing.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask the question. I think it's my responsibility, but go ahead, John.
Well, didn't he like show up in Michigan and immediately buy some local businesses and try and set up in the community and get?
And that's establishing roots is what we're doing.
Yep.
So he has a coffee shop in the area. He went and he bought what was that? The Fisher Mansion, which is a huge 18,000 square feet.
Wow.
A home. He's doing renovations down there. Now, most people will know him because he was one of President Obama's really good friend. Where was Barry?
I didn't know anything about this guy, so I looked him up. He was at Harvard at the same time as Obama.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got an impressive resume, so he's not just an actor. He's
he's an advocate. Now, I don't want to say that. I don't want to put him down as just he has been an advocate. Now, he's been an advocate in our community, in the Black community, and for Black America for as long as I can remember. I've met him a couple different times. Of course, he probably wouldn't remember who I am. One time was in DC, and then one time both of them were in DC. One was for an event. And another was for, I think, a campaign or something. Barack Obama was there. Great guy, great friend of Barry when they played basketball together. And so he's a good friend. And so, people are asking, hey, are you going to get President Obama out on the trail? What do you guys think about these Hollywood celebrities turned politicians?
Well, I think for me, it's just a case-by-case basis, I think. I mean, on one hand, I kind of like the idea of non-career politicians getting into politics.
I love it. I love it.
And I mean, ultimately, again, I mean, if you in my role at HSC, I got to meet a lot of both state and federal level politicians, and the reality is, and I always cringe when I say this, the vast majority of them weren't that impressive one way or the other. And and just because you're an actor or a celebrity doesn't mean you're not a smart person.
But if he's from Harvard, he's got to be some kind of smart.
And this is where I kind of go, it really depends. To me, it's by individual. So I don't want to go do a blanket statement about celebrities. I mean, this guy is a well-educated guy that's been historically involved in activists. He's a carpetbagger. Well, that was one of my questions. Is he actually residing here and present in the community, or is it just a shell of a home that he's never here? That would be one of my questions for him. But I'm not against it. I think it just comes down to the individual celebrity.
What are your thoughts, Jonathan? I see your eyes peeking.
I'm super cynical about this. As with most things, it's all a popularity contest. So if they can bring their popularity in and use it to win different popularity, so be it. That's just what it is. People get into politics for the same reason they get into acting and all that. And build
not only popularity, but it's a big money contest.
Big money too. Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, go. You're just hopping from one sandbox to another.
All right. And so I think thank you, Brian. He put a direct link to the video on the Skills Trade because a brother was struggling up in here. Okay. Saginaw Cap said he's a carpetbagger. I don't know what a carpetbagger is, but for some reason it doesn't sound too glamorous.
No, it's not. It's politician. It's what he travels into a region to get elected to,
that drives me crazy. But this is the thing. Are we willing to allow that to take place in our communities? Are we really that struck with celebrity that we allow celebrities to come in with their money and their fanfare?
I guess you'll find out here because he's going to run. So you'll find out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But go ahead.
The people who actually have what's best in mind for the community, and I know nobody's going to agree on what's best in mind for each community, but those people will never get recognized because they don't play the popularity game. They don't play that game. They don't play in that sandbox. They don't talk to those people. So they're never going to make it up that high. And if they do, they're going to have a very hard time is kind of my
well, I look at this and
I mean, this is a cynical view.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be interesting because we have U.S. Rep Slotkin out there, Alyssa Slotkin, who, if you guys remember, she made that speech on the floor about the LGBTQ plus high A plus community. I get confused with the letters, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Is this the one out on the western side of the state, or where?
Yeah, and Lansing, and raised a ton of money, and raised a ton of money for what she's doing. So she's got one of the most expensive, this big coffers of money that are out there. Then we have locally, Buttigieg will try real soon in Michigan. Yeah, Michigan and it's sad because what it says is that we aren't growing our own. Is what it is. We have people that are in politics. I think Debbie Stabenow was there since 2001. It's 2023. I mean, so they're like lifetime politicians. And then we don't have people that we're putting in positions on either side of this thing, on the left, the right, the middle. We are doing a poor job of growing folks who are really concerned about our communities and then allowing them opportunity to step into spaces of leadership. But there's a lot going on. Dr. Pam Pugh, who is a Saginaw person, she acknowledged or threw her hat in the ring. It's been about 2 weeks now. She had an event on last night. She's run a statewide campaign, and so I think it's going to be really interesting how much celebrity plays a part in what is going down. Should be interesting to watch. Yeah, go ahead.
What's she running for?
She's running for the seat that Debbie Stabenow just vacated. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So she is.
See, that's the thing. I've seen this name Hill Harper all over the place.
Yeah.
But we've got a Saginaw native who is trying.
Who is actually she's the state for the board. She's the president of the state board of education.
I knew she was involved with some state board there. It's not making the rounds quite as much. Nearly as much.
And I think that it's sad, but we see this happen. Remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor? Who knew who else was running? I didn't know. I just knew that Arnold would be back. He was on his way back to our homes and to our houses and to our televisions. And how many times does it really work? There's another guy that ran for governor. He was a comedian in Minnesota. He ran
Jesse Ventura, baby. Jesse the Body Ventura.
Jesse.
He's my man. I loved him as a professional wrestler. He was a better wrestler than he was a governor, but yeah.
So there was Jesse, who was the wrestler. Then there was Frank, a comedian.
Yeah, he's the guy that used to be
Franken or somebody here.
Al Franken.
Yeah. He caught the scandal. I mean, Hollywood is not a place. It's kind of
Dr. Oz tried to run for the Senate, was it, in his last election?
Now, is it just me, or did y'all think Dr. Oz was a bit wacky was he smoking wacky tobacco on the train? This was something different. And Mark, you're laughing. But Jonathan, you followed Dr. Oz to some degree because he was a part of the campaign. Did he come to you? Did he seem the same guy that was on TV, or do you think he changed what he was standing for as it related to politics?
I think I think he was playing in a new sandbox, so he changed up who he was. When you're talking about acting wacky, though, look at his opponent in that race. I really don't think there's much room in that conversation for.
I mean, you got to consider where they were running for. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So much coal mine and steel in there. You never know what's going to happen here. But I'm curious, Saginaw Cap. You said Buttigieg will try in Michigan. I'm curious, before we go off the air, why do you think try in Michigan? You think so too?
Oh yeah.
Why do you think so?
Well, because he's building a political he's building himself up politically. He has at least some roots in Michigan. I think he lives in Michigan, kind of in the Metro Detroit area. I don't know if he's native to Michigan.
Okay.
But it makes sense. Take where you live, take the political kind of footing that you've made for yourself and put it into a campaign.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting. So Buttigieg is the Secretary of
Transportation.
The ex-mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So there we go. So he's not far from here. But we'll see what happens. And if Saginaw or Detroit or Kalamazoo, with all of their celebrities, tend to be the places where these people think that they can come in and grab political power, we'll find that out soon. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, take care of yourselves and one another. God bless you all. Grace and peace.